place when I go to TikTok. We get inspired and get excited. Oh, okay, we lost it for a little bit here. All right, so we're back. Yep, we lost some of the audio. That's cool, but it's just like, yeah, what I'm thinking about is creating orders for the universe, literally structuring our language so we create orders out there into the world. And just keep on doing these messages until they turn into something and they turn into some monetization, or we get so inspired by the things that we're working on that they're things that can't not happen on the back end, right? Where that feeling starts to hit. It's just doing the reps every single day, right? It's doing the reps every single day. I do like the Spreaker where it just does the count. I like how Spreaker handles that, where it does the count each day. I like doing this stuff live so people can start to interact and listen to it live. I like some of this stuff, but maybe, yeah, I like it live out there on the web, even though nobody's listening to it right now. I do like that. So there's no harm in doing some of the stuff on Spreaker and doing some of the stuff on Castles, right? These are the tools. We're the tools that we need to be able to create the results and the full life, right? And then we manage the dollar components, seeing what that actually looks like, and then going for funding, bootstrapping, seeing where there's opportunities, right? And seeing where there's a demand for some of the stuff that we're actually creating and building, and just being the role model for that walk and talk, that audience of one, going for a walk, recording our thoughts, and then sharing it out in the world in a podcast format or in a notes format, or here's some of the structures that you can actually be able to work with, and then having people start to create some of the content around it and be able to create a movement around it. It's interesting, right? And see, where we're not inspired to do stuff, forget about where we're not inspired to do stuff. We know like what it sort of looks like and where we're creating it. Really rely on that inspiration, right? Because we have enough. We don't need new inputs to be able to create stuff. It's like, and we have enough experience in the past. It's just like, oh, this seems to make sense. Where something like makes sense, but it doesn't feel right. Develop that relationship with our subconscious mind to be able to, it's developing that relationship with our subconscious mind to be able to have the stuff that we want. And we're at that phase now of this piece of the conversation. Come on, there's a piece of ice. It's being really annoying here. Piece of ice being really annoying here. All right. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's talk about that. There's a comedian on TikTok who is got over 1 million followers, making a bunch of people happy. Lost his job during COVID, and now went public with like a relationship issue with basically his wife doesn't. His wife is quote unquote effectively done with him now, and I don't know what's happening inside of anybody's house or what's happening, but it's just like there is that. We're not required to do, and I deal with the same thing personally. It's easier to talk about somebody else than it is to talk about myself. But like when we got to do real work, like we have to have a roof over our heads. All right, do we have a roof over our heads? Are we eating? Do we have those things, right? Do we have a roof over our heads? Are eating? Those are the main. I don't even know what the hierarchy goes from there. And then we start moving to self-actualization. But most people that I know of are, I think pretty much, 99.9% of the people that I know of are in that space, right? And they don't have these real quote unquote responsibilities, right? They're myself included, right? Most of us sit in front of, look, what am I doing here? Like, I've got the freedom to be able to go and walk into the woods and talk into a microphone and doing some experiment and have also the freedom that I don't care if anybody listens to this or if anything that comes of this, right? Which is a beautiful time, but there's no real dependency in the world on what's actually getting created here. Now, I can argue the other side of it is that, like, look, where the demand is that we be ourselves, right? And we tapped into something else to start to make something interesting. So we've had, who was I thinking about? Tim Pool, who I've gone hot and cold on his stuff and listened to on Rogan a couple of times, which is, my filter for being able to be like, well, probably worth listening to, but it was just like having a conversation about the aliens are waiting, but they're waiting for us to get our stuff together and for us to be more benevolent to each other and to take care of each other and to be able to work together in a way that's meaningful. That's when they'll that's where they'll come and start to work with us, right? If we just look at what's presented, right? It's much easier. It's interesting because our survival mechanism, I get it, right? Our survival mechanisms are towards negative and protectioning. And so we've got to focus on negative because most of our thoughts are negative. The negative thought keeps us safe. It is like negative thought keeps us safe. And my way of starting to hijack that, again, is just verbalizing stuff here. I'm not going to verbalize. My hands are cold. My nose is cold. I should have done something else. Like, those are thoughts that could have been, actually it hurts to be able to do that. I'm going to start to verbalize forward-thinking ideas that make me feel good in the present, right? And I don't, it's not, the positive thoughts. Where was I thinking of? Where was I listening to this? It's the positive, like, we've got to be on the positive thoughts train, the positive activities. It's in a book that I read this week. What's it called? Compete to Create. Yeah, and that's where the serendipity starts to set in, when we're setting ourselves up to be able to win. So I will speak some of these positive thoughts, and we'll do it for long enough. And then the serendipity piece might kick in tomorrow. It might kick in a year from now. We don't know, but we've got to trust the process to be able to. And now, so now it gets warm as I start to talk that way, right? Like, trust the process that it's actually going to be coming, and it's going to come at the perfect time. But we just got to continue, literally put one foot in front of the other, and to be able to create. So we've got to do 5 of these walks every single day to be able to share ideas and build the muscle up around. There's times when I don't want to do it. That's the difference between a professional and an amateur, right? This the war of art. War of art? Art of war. War of art. In the war of art, that's the difference. Like, we've got to do this 5 times a day, do 5 recordings a day, put them out there, get them processed through. That's like the real play, right? When we don't have to, I don't have to process it all the way through. I've got to see it all the way through. Somebody's coming. I hear some yelling. I've got to see it all the way through on a piece of paper. I've got to just see how they start to manifest into something else on a piece of paper, and then we start to put together those pieces in reality, right? It might be hiring people to put together those pieces, or it might be doing it ourselves to put together those pieces. So where do we work? Where do we go? That's what it is. Just move it forward this way. Move it forward this way, and just putting together the puzzle pieces to start to make stuff go and to start to make stuff work forward. All right, so we do it on a piece of paper. We can do it through we do it on a piece of paper and audio. Once you have those two, then start creating it, like putting the fingers to the keyboards or putting the dollars behind the conversation, right? But once we get it there, we've got to get really clear in our heads on a piece of paper, and that's scripting it a couple of different times. I was working on a project around Google Analytics with a friend of mine, right? And it takes a couple of different scripts, and I have to share my stuff out. I can't bury it. I have to create it and then share it and then rework it. And I was thinking about 20 years ago when we were looking at the building methodology for Campbell Ewald and how they were bucketing stuff. I had to draw it multiple times, maybe take 10 or 15 times to be able to draw it and then share it to other people. And originally it's going to be a little bit wobbly. It's not going to make sense. But then eventually it'll start to make sense, and it'll start to connect, and we'll start having the synapses and get more and more clear to ourselves. We're going to have that feeling that this is the right thing. It's the same thing with these audio messages, right? We continue to go out, and if I show up with a piece of paper when we do these sessions, right? If I start off with a piece of paper that that's going to guide through the conversation, and maybe it's not a legitimate piece of paper, maybe it's just an image of a piece of paper that for steps that we start to walk through, then we can start to make stuff happen, right? What are the stuff that we want to connect with in these conversations? Okay, I got that there, right? So that's getting the clarity from a piece of paper, right? And that's where it starts to work. And then doing these messages as long as it takes to record, right? It's deliberate practice of going on a walk and talk and starting to be able to clarify some of our ideas. And what I love to be paid for, like facilitating walking and talking exercises, just being able to facilitate walking and talking for people. And just doing it alongside them, being that guide, walking alongside and just having it captured in a way that's meaningful, and having it captured in a way that's meaningful. And I think it's just like active brainstorming through what do people want. People want clarity of purpose. People want clarity of purpose. How do I turn this into a product and just have it launched out there into the world? It's Gumroad, right? It's Gumroad. This can be a sales page for Gumroad. And then how do we see if people actually want it? Start working inside of the walking and talking, and then what's happening inside of the walking. How are people monetizing their walk and talks? Somebody's doing it through therapy, right? How much time are they spending actually walking and talking, and how much time are they spent doing something else? So you can start doing interviews with people during their walks and talks, and just building a whole movement around walking and talking. And maybe it's just free talking, because I think the walks matter, but it's the free talking that actually matters. The free talking, and then making sense of it on the back end. So we start digging into our real passion, right? The machines can start to dig into our real passion on the back end. I've got to remind you, there's the introductory course, which is the 50 audio messages. Not the 50 audios that people create, right? Because that's where you start getting, the 50 is where you start getting getting over your own voice, right? And then just seeing where people, what are some of the pain points that can get dealt with through, like, where are the people that walk and talk? There's no community. So who are the community of people that actually start to do that? We can do Google. We can create a lookalike audience for that. We can ideas to reality, walking and talking, right? Just creating, walking and talking, and then walking and talking. What do? I walk and talk. That's what I do. I walk and talk, right? That's what we want to do, right? We want to go for a walk, we want to talk, and then go home and do something different. We go through go on walks and talk. And are we done here? All right, I think we got to a place. The phone said stop. It didn't say stop. It just kept on going. Yep. Can I put? Yep. Walking and talking, creating new opportunities. Walking and talking and creating new opportunities. Yep. Open to work. Walking and talking, creating opportunities. I like that. Just keep on hammering it down, right? What do you do? I walk and I talk. Yep. I walk and I talk and create new opportunities. I walk and I talk and, walk and talk and create opportunities. Yep. No words, just, you know what? Just split test it. See where we start to get interest, see where people start to connect. Walking and talking. Walking and talking. Walking, listening, and talking. Listening, walking, and talking. What do? I listen, I walk, and I talk. That's what I do. And here's the benefits. Mental health benefits, right? And just have a little bit of just build it out that way. Get rid of that city stuff, right? Get rid of the old stuff, right? Push. Just do it right now. Start a new job. Walker and Talker, ideas to reality. Walker and Talker. At idea to reality, and see what pops. Walker and Talker at idea to reality. So we want to do, like, that's the ultimate thing of the game. It's just being able to walk and talk and then have stuff happen in the background, right? And then I think we can actually make that a reality and then do something else in the interim. Walking and talking, here's where some of the areas of focus are. Here's some of the expertise. And just seeing going through 100 profiles and seeing which ones are the most inspiring, and then start to. That's what we do, right? Don't create something completely new. Just create something that is inspiring for me and for other people. Like, what do people respond to? What am I moved to respond to? And then start creating it that way, right? Don't have to be like, but don't have to be, associated, affiliated, right? And I just wonder what happened last year. Just doing walking and talking, and then, having it be accessible, right? And then maybe LinkedIn's not the place to make it happen, or maybe the waves where it just gets like poor transcription, right? People get it, right? People get it in a way that is potentially meaningful, and those people that don't get it, they don't get it. But being willing to put out the crappiest stuff is fine to be able to start. So thanks a lot for listening to this. This is 37 minutes. Have an amazing day.